run around. No. Can you pass it around? Can you pass it around? We're gonna do something with the blue marble at the end. So just go around and make sure everyone gets a blue marble. Some housekeeping. There's bathrooms there. There's plenty of food, so please make yourselves comfortable. I want everyone to feel at home. And the plan for today is I want to share with you a little bit about what this book means to me. I'm going to read a few short passages. I'm going to answer some questions. And I'm going to sign some books. And I want to have plenty of time to mingle and connect because there's so many people here who are so special to me from so many different stages of my life. So if you already have a copy of my book, thank you. And if you want to buy a copy, there's over there. And half of all book sale proceeds will be donated to the Children's Education Foundation in Vietnam, an organization that helps girls in rural villages in Vietnam continue their education. My family and I have been sponsoring several girls there over the years, and it's so great to see them develop from elementary school students to high school students onto university and beyond. And I will get to meet the students that we've been volunteering sponsoring next week when we go to Vietnam. So that's right, we're going to Vietnam. My mom, where is she? Where's my mom? My mom, my beautiful mom, Kim. And my kids, Penelope, where's Penelope?
Over here.
My daughter, Nellie, and my son, Sebastian. We're going to Vietnam next week, and it's going to be a homecoming for us to return to our motherland, and I'm going to lay my body down on the earth and just welcome the embrace of my motherland and let her know that we've come home. So let's see. Why did I write this book, and what does it mean to me? So this book is deeply personal to me. You can say that it's a seed that's been inside of me my whole life, and it's a story that I wanted to share. I wanted to share what it was like for my family to leave Vietnam, what it was like to grow up in Hawaii in a Vietnamese American refugee household. I wanted to share my love for the ocean and art, and I wanted to acknowledge the struggles of mental illness and the strength and resilience of the human spirit. So now, even though this book is deeply personal to me, I wanted it to be a fictional novel because I wanted the creative freedom to let the characters in the book, in the story, take me where they wanted to go. And as I continued the writing process, the characters really came alive for me. They had a life of their own. And now, after publishing the book, I find the characters becoming even more alive for me. Hearing how their stories touch other people, Aing and Swan have become really real to me. And as I read to you today their voices and words, I hope they become more alive for you too. Every day, as a psychiatrist and as someone on my own personal healing journey, I have a window into intimately witnessing the human experience of people navigating through some of the most difficult, challenging, and darkest times in their lives. And I see them come through to the other side. There is always healing available. It is never too late to heal. And that's what the title of this book, Aloha Vietnam, is meant to capture. Aloha means hello, goodbye, and love in the Hawaiian language. Aloha Vietnam is a book about processing loss and grief and major life transitions where we may not have had the opportunity to say a proper hello and goodbye, but knowing that love is always there to give us another chance to go back and say aloha. For the mother, Swan, in the book, she does not have an opportunity to properly say goodbye to Vietnam and hello to her new life. And for Aing, her daughter, receiving this diagnosis of bipolar disorder is also a major life event that she is processing. How to say goodbye to the innocence of her childhood and open up to life as it is now. We follow these two characters' journeys in their lives, and it allows us to reflect on our own lives and journeys. Times in our lives where we may not have had the opportunity to properly say goodbye or hello, and to know that we can always go back and let love heal us. So this book is a celebration and an honoring of many things, of my family, my ancestors, my motherland of Vietnam, my birthland of Hawaii, and it is an honoring of the healing journey that anyone dedicated to true healing is on. So I want to read you a passage in Ang's voice and a passage in Swan's voice, but I'm going to start by reading you the opening poem of the book in my own voice. Tidelands. My people arose from mountains and sea, joined by a marriage of dragons and spirit, birthing life where waves caress shore. My people hold on to the ability to move between two worlds in one breath. Earth and ether, sea and sky, heaven and hell. I try to imagine what kept my grandparents alive when the rice ran out, when stomachs not in hunger, incense smoke clouds the air. I try to imagine what kept my people afloat on the boats that leaked urine, feces, and death into murky waters not wanting to be seen. I try to imagine how it feels to be muted, to have one's voice stripped away as I ache for my father to utter a word. I try to imagine what is born with each of my children as they slip out of me toward a world I hope will be clearer than the one in which I was conceived. On this side of the Pacific, the American side, old identities fade with time, the way pictures lose color in the sun. I stare at a photograph of my mother in a red Aozai dress on her wedding day. I cannot read her face, a face that has been lost and remade as easily as names are changed. I look out towards the other side of the Pacific, in this vast expanse of ocean, a body large enough to contain our collective tears. I long for the two sides to meet so I can be whole again. Can words stitch back two worlds? Which way is up or down, forward or backwards? Everything tumbles in the waves and washes up on shore, smooth and pleasing as sea glass. So that line, can words stitch back two worlds? When I wrote this poem many years ago, I wasn't sure of the answer. I hoped that they could, but I wasn't sure. And now after publishing this book, I am definitively know that words can stitch back two worlds, because writing this book has provided so much personal healing, and I hope that it provides healing for whoever reads it as well. All right, so this is a short reading from Ang's voice in 1993. It has been a long time since I picked up a paintbrush. It's one of those things that slipped out of my routine. But today, sitting at home, I find myself bored. I turn on the TV and flip the channels through the usual weekday afternoon mix of trashy talk shows, cartoons, and infomercials selling juicers and home fitness systems. I turn off the TV and put on my headphones instead and try listening to CDs, but I find myself repeatedly pushing the skip button because the sounds coming into my ears do not match the soundtrack I am feeling inside. Restless and tired, I looked around the room when my eyes fall on the unfinished paintings I had been working on when this all started. I walk over to the paintings that lie piled up in the corner. I pick up the piece that I had been working on the night before getting hospitalized for the first time. I find myself admiring my own work. In a moment of resolve, I decide that I will finish what I started. I set up my easel and get out my brushes, palette, and tubes of colors. The piece I had been working on was of Waimea Bay, a beautiful wide crescent of sand located on the North Shore. I am fascinated by Waimea Bay and how this particular body of water changes characters so dramatically depending on the season. In the summer, it is glassy still, calm and inviting. In the winter, swells bring in monstrous waves, heavy and thick. It occurs to me now that Waimea Bay is kind of bipolar, with her moody swings every season, alternating between calm and stormy. I had chosen to portray Waimea's stormy face for my painting and had been working on mixing colors to show the depth and texture of heavy water in the winter. Water molecules are always made up of the same 2 hydrogen and single oxygen atoms, but depending on the color of the sky, the wind, and the movement of the water itself, it appears either light or heavy. Waimea in the winter is definitely heavy. When I paint, my mind feels clear. All the usual static that bombards my thoughts gets quieter and eventually silences as I pick up my brush, dip it in color, and touch it to the canvas surface. The whole world gets still. The brush becomes an extension of my own body, and I feel myself dancing with the surface I'm painting on. The colors move beneath my strokes like footprints on a path. With watercolors, the water takes over and spreads in ways that I do not expect or plan for. I delight in these moments of surprise. The painting has a will of its own, and I let it have a conversation with me. The watercolors give me the freedom to express the subtlety of everything I want to express. The exact right color and stroke can express so much more about how I feel on the inside than words could ever capture. I can express the whole world through color. As I dip my brush into the water container to swirl it clean before loading the next color, I find myself drawn back into a world where for a moment I forget I have bipolar disorder. It is only a moment, but it is the first time since I have been diagnosed that I feel completely myself again. With that weight momentarily lifted, I realize how much the burden of my diagnosis has been weighing me down every waking and sleeping moment of my being, like a cancer that can't be removed. I hate my bipolar mind, and yet here, in this unexpected moment of discovery, I realize that when I paint, I no longer feel mentally ill. I don't feel Vietnamese or American. I feel like I belong. I feel right. I feel normal. It is a feeling I need to remember and return to. Then this is a passage in Swan, the mother's voice. Mom, can I wear your Ao Zai dress as my Halloween costume? Aing asked me as she came into the kitchen, holding up my traditional red wedding dress from a hanger. What? I asked, confused by her question. I can't find anything in my closet to wear for Halloween tomorrow, so I looked in your closet and found this red Ao Zai dress. I can dress up with this Asian costume. Out of all the American holidays our children had been introduced to in this country, Halloween was the strangest. Why would people open up their homes to strangers and potential robbers who were already wearing costumes to disguise their identity, just to hand out candy to children? I did not know how to respond. Aing was holding up my red wedding Ao Zai dress in her hands, asking if she could wear it as a Halloween costume. For a Vietnamese girl and woman, an Ao Zai, the traditional Vietnamese dress that was usually tailor-made to custom fit your body and worn with long white silk pants underneath, was a special item. I remember how excited I was when my mother took me to the tailor to get measured for my first Ao Zai dress for Thaith when I was around 5 years old. I got to choose the color and pattern of the fabric, light pink with a golden trim and flowers decorating it. I was so proud of it and pulled it out to look at every day, waiting for the special day to wear it. When she was young, I had wanted to get Aing her own Ao Zai dress, but I did not sew well and didn't know anyone else in Hawaii who could make it either. Why don't you try it on and see how it looks, I answered, curious to see how Aing would look in my wedding dress. Okay, she replied, and went back to her room to try it on. A few minutes later, she came back wearing the same shorts and t-shirts she had been wearing earlier. What happened? I asked. It didn't fit me after all. I could barely fit my arms into it. It was too small, she answered. It surprised me that my 16-year-old daughter could not fit into a dress I wore on my wedding day. Was Aing really that much bigger than I was? I'll go look in Dad's closet and see if I can find some old shirts to dress up like a farmer then, Anne said as she walked off. I went back to slicing cucumbers for dinner, but I couldn't stop thinking with sadness about how much Vietnamese culture had been lost to my American teenage daughter. Aing looked at my wedding dress as a potential Halloween costume. something that she thought would make her different than who she was. She was clearly telling me that she did not see herself as a Vietnamese girl. And Ao Zai was the same to her as a farmer's plaid shirt and overalls, just a costume, not an identity. She was Vietnamese, but growing up in America had made her forget that. It brings me a lot of emotion to talk about that too, because I think for a time I felt disconnected from my Vietnamese heritage and identity, but the healing has brought me full circle back to really being Vietnamese American. So I'd like to open it up to any questions and answers, just for a few questions and answers, and then just have you guys all eat and mingle, and I'll sign some more books. Anyone have any questions or questions that they'd like to ask? Yes, Dr. Flynn.
Liz, in the first reading that we've been on,
Yeah.
In the book you mentioned that she feels like the source of her creative expression and the sources of bipolar illness is the same,
Yeah.
but they're different streams. Could you speak to that?
Yes, thank you so much. So this is also a topic that's very personal to me in terms of creativity and really being who we are. When we block ourselves from who we really are and letting our creative streams just flow, it can really lead to blocked up flow. So in many of my clients who have bipolar or who have, let's just say bipolar, they really, their source of creativity really does seem to come from this place of their energy, their passion, their identity, and when we block ourselves up from that, we can really block up our creativity. So I don't know if that answered your question, Dr. Flynn. But yes, if anyone knows me, they know that I love water, and the flow of our emotions and the flow of our creativity are so closely linked. So when you're not letting your emotions flow, you're blocking your creativity. And so it's important to learn how to ride those waves of our emotions and our creativity. Al, Dr. Kuike.
Speaking of which, I noticed you brought your painting that is on the cover of the...
Yes, Shenton, why don't you hold it up for me? Hold up the painting. This is a great story. It's a great story. So, that's a painting I did a while ago, just because I love playing with color. And when I was looking for a cover for this book, I really wanted a Vietnamese artist to do it. I wanted someone who had a Vietnamese soul to be on this cover. So I was like looking around for a Vietnamese artist, and it took me a while to realize that I had a painting that I could use. So I showed that painting to my designer, my publisher, and asked her, could I make this into the cover? And she said, yes, it's beautiful. And so it was a real parallel moment of owning myself as an artist. I didn't see myself as an artist. I knew I was a writer, but I didn't see myself necessarily as an artist. I just somehow like to play with color. But putting my art on the cover of this book has felt so right. It's just beautiful, I think. And Aing in this book also is on a journey of owning herself as an artist. And I really believe that we are all artists, because artists just feel like they need to express themselves. So however you want to express yourselves makes you an artist in how you live your life. So thank you, Al. All right, any other questions?
I have one. When are you making the audiobook? I was convinced you needed to do that, but hearing you read it now has confirmed that needs to happen soon.
I will add that to my very long list of things to do. Thank you, Annalisa. Yes, I would love to make an audiobook. I would love to have it translated into Vietnamese. I'm working on the sequel because these characters wanted to continue to tell their story. They weren't done with me. They keep talking to me. They keep saying they want to express more. And I'm just, here to write down what they want to express. So, does everybody have that blue marble? Oh, one more question? Yes. So,
Yes, so I'm biased because I'm an attorney that represents people with disabilities. And disability is dear and something that we take pride in. And so grateful that this book was about, just speaking about it. I'm just curious if you could share, as your profession as well, ways that as a society we can live and celebrate disability, ways we can be stereotypes.
yeah, thank you for that question. That's one of the multidimensional missions of this book. This book has many missions, but one of them is just to decrease the stigma around mental illness. It's such a terrible term, mental illness. It's really just about human struggle. And we all struggle. We all struggle. We all struggle. We all know people who struggle. And if we can just open up about our struggles and our humanity by sharing our stories, then it's no longer an illness, it's no longer a disability, it's just a diversity, just what makes the uniqueness of the human experience. So I hoped that just by sharing this story where the heroines are a refugee mother and her bipolar daughter and making them beautiful heroines, we could really see the beauty in all of our struggles, that there's nothing to be ashamed about. It's all beautiful. All right, I think that's a great note for me to end on this blue marble exercise that I've always wanted to do as soon as when I read it. This blue marble exercise, do you guys, everyone have a blue marble? Okay, I want everyone to have a blue marble in their hands. This exercise, I took it from Wallace Nichols' book, The Blue Mind. Wallace Nichols is a water scientist researcher. He researches how water makes us happier and healthier and more connected. And he came up with this blue marble exercise that he does at the end of every one of his talks, and he encourages us all to do it. I read it, I'm like, I'm gonna do this. So I want you to each hold your blue marble out, and I want you to hold it at arm's length. And I want you to imagine that this blue marble is our planet Earth. This beautiful blue watery sphere is our planet Earth, what astronauts call the little blue jewel of our universe. And I just want you to just have gratitude for this beautiful planet that we all are on together, that we all are spinning on together right now. This is home for all of us. And now, instead of zoomed out, I want you to zoom all the way in. So I want you to bring this blue marble all the way up to your eyeball and just hold it up and kind of look at the light under it. So instead of being zoomed out, you probably looks like you're underwater now. And just to really admire the beauty of being underwater. And if this blue marble were seawater, it would contain elements, trace amounts of all the elements in our Earth and little tiny microorganisms that make up life on this planet. And then I want you to put this blue marble in front of your heart and think about someone that you're grateful for, someone that you're thankful to have in your life. You're grateful just for who they are and just the part they play in your life. And I want you to imagine what it would be like to give them this blue marble the next time you see them. And so I want to thank every one of you for coming today, for showing up and being a part of my life. And I'm so grateful for every one of you. And this blue marble is meant to represent gratitude and connection, because those are the medicines for our modern world where we all feel so isolated and disconnected. If we have gratitude and connection, that will really be medicine for all of us. So thank you, and pay it forward. Pass a blue marble on to someone else in your life that you're grateful for. This is the Blue Marble Project. Millions of blue marbles have been passed around the world as a way to remind us of our beautiful planet and our love and connection with one another. So thank you very much. Thank you for coming. I'm gonna just put a plug in. If you've read my book, please leave me a review. Those reviews do help. And it's my birthday. It's my birthday. And I have two beautiful cakes here that were just made out of love and just look at them. They're beautiful. They're made out of love. Evan here made this beautiful triple layer. He made this from scratch. Yeah. Triple layer, half-sheet chocolate raspberry cake with toasted almonds and whipped cream frosting. So you guys all need to get a slice of that because it's pure love, pure sweetness and love. And then Amy brought us a beautiful cake as well. And there's plenty of Vietnamese food. So please just enjoy yourselves. Thank you for coming.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. All right. Now I can let my hair down. Wow, this is like a big All right, you guys can sing again.
Round